Before we dive into 2026, I thought it'd be fun to do a quick recap of everything we covered this year. If you've been following along, you'll get a nice refresher, and if you're new here, you'll get a look at all the cool things we explored in 2025. Welcome to Optimistic Web, where we explore the world of CSS and front-end development, one step at a time. We started the year with 5 mind-blowing CSS hover effects, focusing on circular animations. The idea was simple: create smooth, eye-catching hover effects for buttons and icons using nothing more than CSS. We used before and after pseudo-elements and combined them with transition and transform properties. The real highlight was the magic of conic gradient combined with the at property rule, which gives us precise control over the definition of custom properties. We can specify their data type, set a default value, and control inheritance. And the best thing is that these properties are fully animatable, so we can easily animate color stops in a gradient setup. Next up, we moved into a series of in-depth tutorials on CSS masking. In the first video of this series, I explained all the basics of CSS masking and its related properties. Then we explored 2 widely used masking effects. The first example was creating a seamless pattern along the top and bottom edges of an image. The second was all about a smooth blending effect, where an image fades naturally into the background and any overlapping content using a simple one-liner. After that, we moved into animation and used a transparent image as an overlay on the main image. The fun part about this effect was how easily we could animate the mask size and mask position properties to create a smooth reveal effect. The main idea was that masks aren't just static visuals. They can add motion and personality to your UI with very little code. Then the next one was the wipe effect using the same techniques of CSS masking and gradients. In this video, we focused on revealing transitions where content seems to be wiped in from a specific direction. We combined linear gradients with CSS custom properties to animate a seamless blend between the top and bottom slides for a clean and polished transition. In the next part of the series, we pushed reveal effects even further and explored a few variations of more advanced transitions. The main idea was that wipe effects can be as subtle or as dramatic as you want. It all depends on timing, easing, and the type of gradient you choose. With just a bit of tuning, these animations can feel almost magical on the page. After that, we moved on to Mask-Composite. This property lets us combine multiple masks in creative ways. It allows you to layer, cut, and merge shapes to build more complex visuals. In this video, we broke down the different compositing operations and looked at how they actually behave behind the scenes. In simple terms, Mask-Composite gives control over how multiple mask images come together to form a single mask. And then the next one was a super underrated but hugely useful CSS trick, the background repeat round. Most of us only use repeat or no repeat, and that's where the story ends. But round quietly solves a problem we don't even realize we have. Instead of cropping or awkwardly cutting off your background image, it repeats it perfectly by stretching or compressing each copy so everything fits cleanly. No gaps, no clipping, just a seamless pattern. And with that little detail, we ended up creating a cutout border that looks just like a postage stamp. Then we jumped into a UI pattern you've probably seen somewhere on the internet: the revealing sticky footer. It's that smooth effect where the footer stays tucked away until you scroll all the way down, and then it slides into view like it was waiting for its moment. The trick was surprisingly simple: a mix of position sticky, smart stacking with z-index, and layout spacing that lets the footer peek in right when you hit the bottom. In the next video, we learned how to create hover effects that are not only visually appealing but also accessible. We added the ARIA label attribute so screen readers can clearly announce what each link does, used pseudo-elements and data attributes for tooltips, and relied on the focus visible pseudo class for a better user experience. And then we looked at how to make a fully responsive layout without writing endless media queries. The real magic was in setting up grid template columns using the repeat function. In this one-liner, we're telling the browser to make each column 200 pixels wide and fit as many as possible. If there's extra space, distribute it evenly. But if the container gets narrower than 200 pixels, let the column shrink to fill the full width instead of overflowing. This gives us clean and responsive layouts that just work, whether you're on a phone, tablet, or a giant monitor. This next video was somehow unique because I mostly share CSS tips and tricks, but this was based on JavaScript. I talked about how to figure out the mouse position using event listeners, and then dynamically use those coordinates in CSS to create a smooth mouse follow animation. I also discussed accessibility and performance tweaks, so it works well even for users who prefer reduced motion or touch devices. Then we moved on to a small but impactful UI detail. This video was focused on this tiny favicon in the browser tab. Using prefers color scheme or inline SVG with media queries, we can automatically switch the favicon between light and dark modes. It's a small detail, but it can make a big difference in how polished your website feels. Then the next video was on the basics of console logs. We not only explored commonly used console functions, but took a step further and dived into console groups, nested grouping, console tables, and string substitutions where special tokens are replaced with actual values from variables or data sources. And finally, we dived into CSS counters. Using counter reset, counter increment, and the counter function, we made custom sequences and nested numbering like we often see in legal documents, only using CSS. These CSS counters can be customized in countless ways to seamlessly match the overall look and feel of the website without extra HTML. I've also shared a playlist in the description. If you missed any of these videos, now's the perfect time to go back and watch them. Each one builds on these ideas and shows practical ways to level up your front-end skills. Thanks for following along, engaging in the comments, and sharing your feedback. Stay tuned, keep experimenting, and let's make the next year even more creative and fun. See you in the next one.